you know, affronting the client with different permutations. You know, what does this want to be? We have to have glasses. We have to have a kit of parts. You know, a foot pedal. You know, what does it want to be? And the challenge is to break away from their existing product, which is about the size of a, you know, 2 toasters, and you know, break the paradigm that was set up by that, and in a way, make everybody that was expecting that generation 2 to just be, you know, very shocked at the trade show to see that this thing was going to be something entirely different. And so you know, as you probably go, you do a lot of different exploratory and concept drawings, and then rough mock-ups. These were very helpful because the challenge was trying to figure out what to do with this very fragile fiber optic that would break. And so a lot of the doctors were, you know, you'd have a very nice piece of equipment, but the Achilles tendon, the thing that was very vulnerable, was this teeny little piece of glass. And yet they have to wind that up, and you have to figure out, you know, what do I do with it? And so a lot of the challenge was trying to figure out what is the most, I don't know, intuitive way to handle some sort of winding process. A lot of study later is started to gel with this, and in order to preserve the detail, I ended up having to model a lot of the parts myself, because I think one of the things you'll find as an industrial designer is there's sort of a battle between the people that are designing the aesthetics and the ones that are actually designing the parts. Sometimes things get lost in the translation. And so the best way to do that is to really, if you want to see your design to fruition, learn how to engineer it, learn about molding processes, learn about graft and all the other things that might seem kind of boring and more engineering oriented, but if you speak the language of the engineer, then you'll be able to actually persuade them and solve problems so that your product actually comes out the way you want it to. So that was, I found that to be successful in this case. I even got to do some of the graphic user interface for it and design the handpiece, which is also a really interesting problem, trying to make something that is easy to manipulate and then creates a certain visual cue for holding and directing the emission of the laser. So you do some detail shots. This is a product that's made out of a process called liquid metal, which is actually also used for making bullets. It's a very, very solid, hard metal. It's actually technically glass, but it comes across as metallic. The bottom of it clips off like a bayonet, and it can attach to a wall mount base. So, and you know, once again there was a relationship established, they asked me if I wanted to do the packaging. So, being inspired by some other great practitioners of packaging like Apple, trying to create a very positive user experience from the very beginning. You know, all the boxes are in the order that somebody would open this up and start developing their relationship with it. You don't want to start off something, a relationship badly by throwing in confusion. So this is sort of a way to get that going. One of the greatest forms of flattery is to see yourself knocked off. And this is a device that came out last year called Cheese. Believe it or not, cheese. I am not.
I was supposed to say cheese.
I think I couldn't figure out why would anybody call this cheese. Well, think about it.
Is it like good cheese?
No, well, good cheese. But when somebody says smile,
yeah,
say cheese.
You say take a picture.
Yes.
Maybe that.
Yeah, and so bright teeth, and so a couple of layers down the road.
Oh, yeah.
What's so great is they actually took a screenshot of our product and put it on that device. So anyway, another thing to counteract, again, starting to question things, and it's also very helpful, and it's a natural thing for people to every so often question where they're going and what they're doing. One of the things I thought I was getting too deeply into was the medical product and the technical side of things. So I have some friends that design furniture, and they seem to enjoy a really nice life going to the Milan Furniture Fair and Neocon and a few other things. And it just seems like more of the artist lifestyle. And so I decided I'm going to do that. I want a little bit of that. And so I decided to just get a welder and some tubing and start making a chair. And it resulted in this. This was my first prototype. And I made the chair out of fiberglass and then simulated the wood look. And just started getting rejected by everybody. But one person liked it, and they held on to it for about 2 weeks. And then they said, we can't make it this year, but I know of another person, and here's their name. And so I submitted it, and it just so happened that they were looking for a wood and metal chair. So it ended up becoming a chair for fixtures furniture. And so they had me change a few things, but and add an arm version of it. But that's in production, and now either this February or the next Neocon, myself and a friend are going to be launching another lounge table and addition for a whole set of furniture that is a spin-off of this company. This is, in fact, that friend is Joe Riccio and his son there, and this is a picture of us over at the Milan Furniture Fair. He goes there just about every year and takes some students. But it's a wonderful place to go. In terms of furniture, it's like IKEA multiplied by 100. I mean, it's enormous, and it's just fantastic. And you ask yourself, does the world need another chair? But apparently they do, and they need kitchens, and they need everything else, because there's acreages of that. And it's very exciting to go to. There's so many really cool things. They even have an area for students to show off their work. So I don't really necessarily have any advice or observations, other than maybe what I think is helpful for somebody who's doing my kind of work. And essentially, they hire somebody like us to really be a catalyst for change and to bring in really cool ideas, things that they can't do internally. So we have to constantly be fresh about that, even if we're not, even if we're sort of burned out. And they like to have a partner, somebody that actually will be invested in the design and not just sort of say, well, I gave you these drawings, it's your problem. That's never going to work for you. A lot of time you'll be working with somebody whose boss needs them to be successful, and so they're really interested in partnering with you because their whole job depends on it. And so this is not just a glamour role, this is a survival role, and it's especially true in this economic climate. It's really a very critical thing. So those kind of relationships can work, and if you are somebody that has a successful relationship, that person may not call you back for every job, but they will remember you, and the taste of the success will actually come through, I think, in referrals, which is very important. I think that kind of thing is so important nowadays, where the average recruiter has a stack of resumes on their desk, and they don't have a way of sorting them out other than to say, so-and-so has worked with this person and had a good experience. So I try to adhere to some of these concepts, or just about every one of them most of the time. But I think nowadays you really have to be considerate of the value of your work. Where do you fit in? You have to make a certain living. You have to, charge things at a certain standard rate. Otherwise, you're giving it away. You have to provide a sense of value and a sense of importance to the process of design. They can't just treat you as though you're just a cake decorator.